Howdy doody, my name's Terry Bush. Now, I don't know if you've seen on the social media recently, particularly on FaceTube, a campaign to free the Burntwood 2. Now, that's pretty close to my heart because the Burntwood 2 are actually my twins, Christian and Julian. And they were sentenced by a judge for an indefinite period. It were between 4 and 12 years. Now, this campaign is to get them a definite sentence. It's being run by that bloke Wes, who runs the charity shop on the High Street. And Wesley De Bruyne, his name is. He's from South Africa. I think that name means Wesley the Brown, but he's a very white man. In fact, his family used to run a biltong farm just outside Durban. If you don't know what biltong is, biltong's like jerky, like beef jerky. And it's reminiscent of something you'd find down the back of a sofa cushion, or perhaps like on one of them kitchen nightmare programmes when they find something crazy at the back of the oven that's been in there for years. But his family actually had to flee Durban and South Africa completely because the patriarch, the father, were called Andreas, and he were a bit rough and tumble with the servants or slaves, depending on who you ask, and he played a bit fast and loose with some of the lasses on there. Ended up having a baby, what they called a mulatto. You're not allowed to call it a mulatto anymore. It's a biracialist. And before they got their heads cut off, they were hounded out of town. They had to run. Just had the claws on their back. I saw Wesley's running this campaign, and he says that Christian and Julian were sentenced too highly, and an indefinite sentence is particularly, against human rights because you need to have a, definitive time period. But I do agree with him in some respects, but only on that they should have been sentenced for the full 12 years, because they're a proper little pair of so-and-sos, them two. I mean, well, first of all, they are guilty of the crime. They did murder the little boy over Chasewater, but they didn't bum him. Like it said in the newspapers, they didn't bum him, they're not animals. I think he just fell on something. But they did actually commit that crime. And, Wesley doesn't understand. Them boys do need locking up. I were the one that were trying to raise them. And it's easy to try and raise the dead than to try and raise Christian and Julian Bush. I mean, they just belong inside. They're institutionalised now anyway. One time when they were out for a few months before they re-offended, they both trapped me in the upstairs bathroom and tried to sexually rape me with a sharpened Timotei bottle. So, Wesley just don't understand. They drove their mother to a suicide's grave, my Kathy. Poor lass. Well, they said it was, suicide at the inquest, but I don't believe it. No one commits suicide that elaborately, so I think Christian and Julian was something to do with it. They'd already blinded Kathy in one eye. One day we took them out down Ensford Park for a day out. They looked like they were enjoying themselves, but the whole time they were scooping up handfuls of dog poo and putting it in their pockets. Then later on, unbeknownst to us, they put some of these little pellets of dog poo in the mother's glaucoma eye drops in the bottle, and obviously she put that in, and the doctors were able to save the eye, but from then on, it were kind of cloudy, and it tended to wander. So it were no use to her. But they just laughed. When they were confronted with it, they laughed. You can't get sorry out of them or a confession. You can get laughing. Yeah, you can't get sorry out of them. In fact, when we laid Kathy to rest, they were already in youth offenders again at that point, but for something totally unconnected. And when we laid her to rest, I actually got a letter that morning from the boys from the Youth Offenders Institute, and I thought, all right, finally, they're saying sorry. I opened the letter, 2 sides of A4 of the words ha 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 ha, written in excrement it were. That's like their version of a dirty protest, I suppose. A pair of mucky pups, them.